We're going directly to the ICE shooting that took place in Minneapolis that left a bystander dead. ICE shot a woman in Minneapolis just yesterday. 2,000 extra agents were flooded into the city, and the Department of Homeland Security celebrated it with a shitty little post that they always do, where they were like, "Oh yeah, fuck around and find out. Good morning, Minneapolis." Like, you know, like good morning, Vietnam. DHS tweeted this yesterday, a little more than 24 hours. ICE agents just shot and killed a legal observer in Minneapolis. What ended up happening was, and there's plenty of eyewitness videos on the scene. We're obviously going to watch it. The video is gruesome, even though it's not graphic technically. At least the one that's like readily available is not very graphic, but it is. You know, I'm just going to give you a forewarning. Luffy would not like you. Yes, you're right. This is what we should be talking about right now. An American citizen was shot and killed by the Gestapo, and there are chatters in here coming in saying Luffy would not like you. Yes, it's not my fault that you don't understand whatever kind of fucking work you're reading, you dumbass. All right, lock in. Let's get a little bit serious for a brief moment. So, anyways, I was saying, only a couple weeks after, only a week and a half after, basically, a right-wing slopaganda piece that came out that was supposed to talk about fraud, even though it wasn't really about fraud at all. It didn't have any new evidence in it whatsoever, and it was simply just a video harassing every single Somali and Somali-owned businesses. The Department of Homeland Security, leaning in to this new racialized agitprop, decided to send the Department of Homeland Security Gestapo agents to the city of Minneapolis. Now, what's really interesting, at least about one of the details that's often overlooked in this story, is the fact that the Somali American population, the Somali immigrant population, is 60% natural born U.S. citizens, as in they were born on U.S. soil, and over 90% of the Somalis on U.S. soil are American citizens. So they're either naturalized, or the majority of them are actually natural born U.S. citizens. So they just happen to be from Somalia. Like, that's their ethnic background. No different than like an Irish person, an Irish American, no different than an Italian American, right? And yet, even though that is the reality, a lot of people have been talking about this from a immigrant apprehension standpoint for some reason. Why would you send ICE, which are supposed to be a unit that is entirely tasked with combating immigration crimes, to a place where you are suspecting a minority group of committing fraud, but the minority group that you are suspecting of committing a fraud is actually a minority group that is entirely American? Okay? Why are you bringing this up? Was it a Somali woman? Maybe he was talking to ICE agents. Why are you bringing this up? Was it a Somali woman? They are illegal. They are not. They are not. If the overwhelming majority of Somalis living in Minneapolis were committing fraud, that would be an American domestic affair. You understand that, right? Because they're American citizens. They are not illegal, no matter how hard you choose to believe that they are, just because you just have decided that some American citizens that don't look like you are actually not, American citizens. People have voted for that. What do you mean? I don't think I can have a conversation with you if you don't understand how this stuff works. There's a constitution. Just because you feel like you voted to make American citizens no longer American citizens doesn't mean that you can behave like that. Doesn't mean that you can get away with that. You know, just like I can imagine that people that are, sub 60 IQ, such as yourself, should be immediately jailed, for example, if they are openly reactionary. But that doesn't mean that if I run on a platform such as that one and then people overwhelmingly vote for me, which they probably would, because goddamn, some of you are so petulant and so vicious and so annoying, that doesn't mean that I can just like automatically decide to do that. There's a process that I have to go through. There's institutions, there's rules, there's laws, there's checks and balances. That's not how this works. You can't just go, yeah, sorry, their parents entered the country illegally and therefore their children also must leave. None of the things that you're saying is correct. I'm actually done talking to you about this because it's very clear that you do not have a working brain cell, but none of the things that you're saying is correct. As a matter of fact, those people are legally here, but what you are describing is illegal. Unironically illegal. That's not how anything works. That's not how this works. You don't just go, hey, I've decided that these people are black and Muslim and scary, and therefore I've imagined that they've come into the country illegally, and therefore they must be evacuated. They must be deported. That's just not how this works at all. I know that you are a petulant little child who thinks that you are entitled to get everything you want at all times, but that's just not how this works at all. Okay? Just at least for the time being. I know that Donald Trump has actually really made it seem like that's how things work, but that's just not how that goes. That logic applies to every immigrant. That logic applies to every immigrant too, even Venezuelans. Of course, applies to Venezuelans as well. As a matter of fact, it applies extra to Venezuelans, considering that Venezuelans, at least more than 500,000 Venezuelans, have temporary protected status to exist on U.S. soil. So they're technically still not naturalized American citizens, for example, and therefore it applies extra to Venezuelans. Okay. Having said that, we're obviously going to go right into it. Here is, here is the news. What is happening, man? Fuck me. God damn.
In Minneapolis, where city officials confirm a shooting occurred reportedly involving a federal ICE agent and a civilian this morning. You see the live pictures right there. Our Whitney Wild is...
Once again, of course, the way that they are covering this, instantly is neutral language, neutral tone, normalizing it a little bit, being like, oh, a shooting incident took place between a police officer, an ICE officer, and a bystander. And it's like, no, they shot and killed a woman in her car. Okay, they shot and killed a woman in her car. America is a fucking powder keg. We are 7 days into the new year, and in the first week of 2026, this administration has kidnapped and deposed the leader of a foreign nation, fantasized about doing similar things to other sovereign nations such as Mexico, Colombia, and also talked about overtaking or engaging in colonial occupation on a European country's territory, Greenland, basically destroying and it's a NATO country as well. Denmark is a NATO country. Basically destroying any sort of goodwill that they could potentially get from Europe. And yeah, this is where we're at. This is, it's fucking straight up 7 days in, and everything is completely busted.
There on the ground, Whitney, tell us what's happening right now.
Dana, we're in the heart of Minneapolis. We're here on East 35th and Portland Avenue. And let me show you first, I'll show you who's on scene. That is Mayor Jacob Frey. He's the mayor of Minneapolis. To the side here on the left side of your screen, that is Police Chief Brian O'Hara. There is an enormous law enforcement presence here from multiple different jurisdictions. Our photographer is going to show you what the crowd looks like here, Dana. Mayor Frey is now leaving. I think you're probably starting to hear people yelling to him, but he is now leaving. He had spoken with some people on the edge of the crowd when he first arrived, according to a man who had video of it. He did not come back to the crowd. Now a crowd is following him down the street. But what you're looking at right now is the law enforcement response here. So you see Minneapolis police, you see the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. We've also seen the U.S. Marshals here. We've seen Customs and Border Border Patrol. But let me bring you up to speed with what we know. As you said, we know that there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement near East 34th Street.
Minneapolis shooting involving federal law enforcement. Like, this is, I guess, though, that's what happened. You know, that's like, who knows? Who knows what the details are, guys? Just gotta say, I know I have the new angle as well. Okay, calm down. I know. They make it seem like a woman hit a bullet, you know? A woman hit multiple bullets, as a matter of fact, with her car. Like, when you say this, it could be a random woman who ran into bullets, or it could be a random person shooting federal law enforcement. Actually, did ICE agents get shot, or are the ICE agents fine? I mean, I can't tell from the way that they're angling this, you know?
In Portland Avenue. That was according to the city of Minneapolis. We do not yet know for sure what the extent of any injuries are or what prompted this. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has weighed in, saying my public safety team is working to gather information on an ICE-related shooting this morning. Again, Mayor Jacob Fry is here. This is all in the context of this ramped-up immigration enforcement that DHS has been touting. They say this is the largest immigration crackdown to date. 2,000 agents spread throughout the Twin Cities.
I need to remind you guys once again that when they talk about this being the largest anti-immigration crackdown to date, the reason why they were deployed to Minneapolis is to apprehend people from a group that they've decided are not real Americans, right? They've decided that Somalis are not real Americans after this fucking Slopaganda video that came out. Except 90% of them are American citizens. 90% of them are American citizens, and the other 10% have, you know, proper paperwork and clearance to be on U.S. soil. So 90% of them are American citizens. Only 10% of them are immigrants. Okay? So deploying the largest deployment of ICE agents into a city that is where you are targeting an immigrant population, where 90% of them are American citizens, I think we all understand exactly what's going on here, right? I think we all understand exactly what's taking place here. It's fucking, it's completely ridiculous.
This has been going on for a couple of days now. We know that DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was here in the Minneapolis area yesterday. And what we see now is this real peak moment here where, based on our understanding, there was a shooting involving federal law enforcement here, and as Governor Tim Walz said, involving an ICE agent. We are learning to, trying to learn as much as we can. But let me just get you, another picture of the crowd here, because this is a city where these George Floyd riots are not far in the rearview mirror. And what I keep hearing from people in this area is they say, if you thought that was bad, this city is about to explode. And so the line that Minneapolis police are towing right now is to try to keep this calm and not inflame the crowd, because they do not want another major eruption. They cannot have a repeat of the George Floyd riots. And so right now what you're seeing is
CNN, George Floyd riots. Yeah. Great framing on this, for the record. I mean, this is what I was fucking worried about. And I did talk about this extensively when the Nick Shitley video first came out, where I said that there was going to be eventually copycats that come in and harass people. Tensions rise up. Eventually, the administration sends in the Gestapo. And then here we have it. The Gestapo ends up shooting and killing someone. Okay? And for the record, we do have the video. Obviously, I'm going to get to that in a second. Like, this is just like the protests that are going on. Actually, let's just get started on the video real quick, and I'll show you the different angles as well, because a lot of this back and forth is going to be around whether or not this was a justified kill, okay? And it's not. It's not at all. It's not even remotely close. It does not fucking matter. The very fact that, once again, ICE was deployed to Minneapolis like this was just for politics, okay? Pure partisan politics, pure racist agitation. Because remember, that's the reason why I keep pointing to the fact that the Somali population that they're supposed to be targeting are 90% American citizens. Majority of them are natural-born American citizens, okay? Natural-born U.S. citizens, 60% of the 90% are natural-born U.S. citizens, and the rest are naturalized. So the fact that the Department of Homeland Security is conducting any sort of immigrant operation here is already ridiculous, okay? It's ridiculous. It's a completely made-up, faulty premise. So then you have people that are tracking ICE agents and filming them. Let's take a look at one of the witness videos that came out. Okay. There's a woman that's partially blocking the road with her SUV. Okay, this is the victim for the record. ICE agents get out of their unmarked pickup trucks.
No!
They start trying to immediately. They go in, no questions asked. Immediately, they try to rip her out of the car. Okay, she pulls the car back first. Okay, she reverses first to move out of the way. She reverses first to move out of the way.
Shit!
Then she tries to drive away. Okay? There's an agent that is next to the car and immediately starts shooting. Instantly starts shooting. Okay? No questions asked. This is cold-blooded murder. Now, let me tell you something. If this person had an arrest warrant out for their arrest and they were doing a lawful stop, okay? If the cops in this circumstance were doing a lawful stop, this would still be a terrible thing to do. And the reason for why this would be a terrible thing to do is because this is a suburban neighborhood. And if you open fire on someone like that, aside from the murder itself, when you open fire on a fucking moving vehicle like that, you end up causing even more problems. There could be innocent bystanders. There could be strays. There could be bullets ricocheting. You're putting a lot of other people at risk. So this is not the proper way to deal with the situation at all. The proper way to deal with the situation is very clearly this woman that is getting out of the way, just letting her go. Fuck. What is happening? Not only did they escalate the violence instantly to deadly violence, okay? Yeah, not like the car is a deadly weapon. The car can be a deadly weapon. This is why in many cities they have no chase policies. This is why you're not supposed to shoot someone like that. Exactly. And the car is literally like...
Oh my fucking God!
The car immediately, after he kills the person driving the car basically continues moving. And there are people on the other side at the fucking crosswalk. And she almost, like, the car almost ends up killing those people as well.
What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you do? You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What the fuck?
I cannot believe that in broad daylight, you can see a fellow American get assassinated by a pig fuck. An untrained pig fuck hopped up on fucking steroids and self-entitlement, and you still have this weird thing in your mind where you go, how will I justify the actions of the cops here? It's one of the most insane things that I only see from Americans. I guess like MAGA brain rot is actually taking root all around the planet. So I suspect that there will be more and more people, even in places like Europe, that obviously looked at this stuff and insta-lock defense of the cops here. Okay? But you are a fucking moron. You have no self-interest. You do not understand the situation at all. You do not understand what is going on at all if you are looking to defend a cop in an instance like this. If you're looking to defend the ICE agent in an instance like this, they have been falsely deployed into this neighborhood to begin with. This person is part of this person is doing a lawful civil disobedience act. She's not fully blocking the road, even initially, okay? And as soon as they roll up, instead of trying to communicate with her to move out of the fucking road, this guy instantly tries to pull her out of the fucking car. You have to understand, you have rights, okay? As an American citizen, on paper, you have fucking rights. Okay? Like, that's kind of the point, right? You have some rights. You can't just like have cops roll up to you and decide that they're God. Okay? There is no world where a cop can just, without telling you that they're a police officer, without giving you like a lawful order, they can't just like walk up to you, guns drawn, and shoot you, you know? Like, that's what they're doing is illegal. And I think a lot of Americans don't understand this, where they think like if someone is wearing a badge, no matter how fake that badge is, because ICE is like even worse than cops in general, okay? When you see a person wearing a badge behaving like this, there are some Americans who unironically think, oh no, everything that they're doing is correct and everything that the citizen is doing is incorrect. One shot through the windshield, 2 shots through the side window, officer not even squarely in front of the truck to begin with. Exactly. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you're defending this kind of action, when you're defending this summary execution, right, in broad fucking daylight, what you're failing to comprehend is you're defending it for yourself. You're defending it for your mom and dad. You're defending federal law enforcement behaving like this to your loved ones as well. Pay attention to the wheels too. Yeah, the driver's wheel was pointing away from the agents when the first shot popped off and the officer's body was already out of the way of this vehicle. Exactly. I mean, there is no justification. There is no justification for this at all. That's the whole point of de-escalation over escalation, okay? Cops are supposed to de-escalate. And if they don't de-escalate and they escalate, they have weapons on them. Normal civilians can panic. The idea that you're immediately ascribing a negative intention to a person in their own fucking car, in their own neighborhood, is so insane to me. Okay? People see this and assume automatically that this person was there to do terrorism. They wanted to kill cops. They wanted to kill ICE agents. You're a fucking idiot for that for that assessment. Okay? You're adding that intent in your mind in an effort to justify the actions of the ICE agents here, when these actions are utterly unjustifiable. Now, will they actually be held accountable? Probably not. I'll be honest. Probably not. But we are in a fucking serious powder keg right now. And it's not because this is where the George Floyd protest took place initially. Okay? But this is completely unacceptable. Who would agree with this? Who would agree with this? Anyone who agrees with this does not realize that this can happen to them as well. I see a lot of people saying Asmongold. Yes, I know. My point is, Asmongold and people who actually watch this thing and immediately justify it don't realize that they're actually justifying it for themselves as well. They're justifying cops doing this kind of shit to them as well. Why did the woman try to kill the officer? It won't happen to me because I won't attack the officer. I think this is what I mean. Because the woman didn't try to kill the officer. The woman tried to get out of the way. And you can see that. You can see that with the wheel positioning right here. Okay? The woman is trying to get out of the way instead of getting ripped out of her fucking car. This does not give a reason for cops to kill this person, okay? That's not how this works. That's not how anything works. Because if this situation where cops are wrong from the start, the ICE guys are wrong from the very start, instead of de-escalating, instead of telling her, instead of wavering her away, walking up and trying to get her out of the car, guns out, and immediately fucking shooting her, like this. If you think that this is anything but a severe collapse of how under normal circumstances, lawful practice of law enforcement officers just fell apart and that this could happen to you as well, you are being delusional. Please stop justifying shit like this just because you see a fucking badge and you want to eat the boot whole. Okay? There is no world in which this is appropriate. It's not. And it's shocking to me that many regular ass Americans, which I suspect this person is, right, cannot comprehend that, cannot find themselves in a similar situation. Can you imagine a world where a misunderstanding or a moment of panic causes you to fucking lose your life, and then people talk about it as though it's, you know, it is what it is. Shouldn't have fucking done it. Fuck around and find out, scumbag. Like, that's how they talk about you. Even if the hallucinations on the right that want to justify this were true, fleeing cops is not a death sentence. Exactly. Okay? This is completely unacceptable. And not only is it completely unacceptable, but once again, it's yet another instance where I'm suspecting that the right is falling in line on the dumbest possible position. And not only are they falling in line with the dumbest possible position, it's one that is not even self-serving. Okay? This is against your best interest. We want every law enforcement officer to abide by a certain set of standards that places people's lives and livelihoods as the highest priority. That's the entire point of law enforcement, okay? We got an administration that is utilizing an unaccountable federal law enforcement agency as his own personal private Gestapo. And now they're killing people. And they have killed people already. But this is another one that is an execution in broad fucking daylight of an American citizen in her own goddamn neighborhood. And there are still dumb fucks out there. There are still stupid people out there that are trying to defend this, not realizing that one day, this can happen to you as well. Please show the angle where she drives into the guy. Brother, this is the angle. What the fuck are you talking about? You're talking about a person who is very clearly shooting at this car, although it's not, you know, the car is very clearly trying to get away from these fucking assholes. Okay? She gets shot and killed for it. There is no justification for it. Can I post the link? You need to be subscribed to be able to post the link. But I already have the other angle. I assume you're talking about this one, right? The Lookner video that I saw. This is the one that people are presenting as like a valid one. Like, look, see, very clearly, this person was like driving into this other cop. Yeah, I wonder why they're using this angle from afar and not the close-up one to claim that this person was driving into the cop. I guess if you're ever in an incident and you're surrounded by cops, okay, it doesn't matter. If there's ever a cop around you, they can just shoot and kill you when you're in your car. That's just how it goes, baby. Oh, yeah, this one. Brother, you literally looked at an angle that is smack dab right there, and you thought, let's find another angle where I can justify my argument. And the other angle where you think justifies your argument is one that is right here. Even from this angle, it doesn't show what you think it shows, you fucking moron. You understand that, right? This angle doesn't justify your argument. He's on the side. The vehicle is clearly moving away. The vehicle is moving to the right. He's to the left of the car. Maybe you'll find another angle eventually. Homie, I'm not trying to justify or get mad at anyone. I looked at the angles and I thought, hey, don't do that. Listen, homie, okay? I need you to understand something, all right? There is a little devil in everyone's mind, okay? This is something that I observe mostly with Americans. I've actually never seen, I've seen hogs of all different varieties, but this is a uniquely American hog brain thing where they see someone wearing a fucking badge, executing someone in broad daylight, and they immediately look for ways to justify it because they've been told cops are always good. Cops are always good. If a cop tells you, get down and suck his cock, you have to do it. They have a gun. If you don't do it, then, and they shoot you and kill you, it's fine. It's all right. You should have sucked his cock. It is a very strange phenomena that I only see with American bootlickers. Even European bootlickers don't go this fucking hard. And it might stem from the fact that you might not have ever actually been in an intense situation with cops or anyone holding a gun to your fucking face, okay? And you don't understand what that environment is like, how chaotic that environment is. But there is a reason why under different circumstances in other normal, competent forms of governance in other countries, there is obviously a much higher priority of violence that you need to actually clear before a standard of violence that you actually have to clear before you pull your gun out and start shooting. Okay. In America, we have normalized that you can just like come out guns blazing, start fucking executing people because there are a lot of people that will justify it. It's completely ridiculous. This was not an attempt to run down the officers. If that was the case, she probably would have turned her wheels in the opposite direction, not the direction away from the cops. No, I don't believe that. I believe if you're an attack an officer, that officer has the right to stop you. I looked at the videos presented and I saw a woman driving an officer. I don't think you're understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay? The DHS's own use of force guidelines prohibits this. Okay? DHS's law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at an operator of a moving vehicle, vessel, aircraft, or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force against the operator is justified under the standards articulated elsewhere in this policy. Before using deadly force under these circumstances, the LEO must take into consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control conveyance. There is a reason why in many of these other places you don't even have the right to give chase to a fucking fleeing vehicle because you can end up you end up killing way more people in the process. That's not how this works at all. If there's a person that's violating the law here, or violating the law in a more severe manner, it is actually the law enforcement in this circumstance. What are we doing? Yeah, she very clearly is trying to do a goddamn U-turn too. She's waving them by. Video shows the driver was yielding to agents and waving them by. Agents then tried to forcibly enter her vehicle. When she tried to drive off, an agent opened fire. He even moved her side window to fire her again. Like she's literally waving them off. She's trying to do a fucking like she goes forward here after waving the agent off, clearly trying to fucking move. And then this truck comes out. The ice dipshits come out of this first truck, and instantly guns blazing, no questions asked. She puts the car in reverse.
No! Shit!
And immediately they fucking shoot and kill her. Why is it that, dude, do your people always get so aggressive when someone clearly explains their point of view without attacking anyone? Brother, the point of view that you're attacking is justifying cold-blooded murder of an American citizen in the hands of an unaccountable fucking military force that the administration is utilizing against people like you. If you're an American citizen, yeah, of course, this is an idiotic justification. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, I just like have a simple disagreement. Like, I don't understand. You see fucking cold-blooded murder, and your first job in your mind is to defend the fucking murderer because the murderer is wearing a badge. Of course, we're going to have some fucking disagreements with you, brother. It's an emotional story, don't you think? Just because you lack the capacity to empathize with the person that could be you or a loved one in any other circumstance, by the way. Okay? I suspect your entire family are not cops, right? I assume, and even cops can actually find themselves in the crosshairs of ICE at different times. So, you know, this is even less accountable than the police. I believe that if you attack an officer, you keep repeating it over and over again. That's not the point, okay? A misreading of a situation or a chaotic situation where someone could be fearful for their life for understandable reasons should not mean that you get to summarily execute them in broad daylight. What the fuck are you talking about? You're just automatically victim blaming. She wasn't attacking anyone. That's your assumption. Your assumption is that this person was there to do broad daylight murder of a fucking cop. Engage in vehicular manslaughter. That's what your assumption is. And currently, if you actually look at the evidence presented with eyewitness testimony and the videos that are readily available, you do not have enough information to justify that intent. Okay? You are just making this up. There's something in your mind that is causing you to look at a situation like this and immediately imagine an alternative hypothetical that did not happen. And not only that, but also, not only is this a denial of reality, but it's a denial of reality of a common thing that can happen to even someone such as yourself. Your entire assumption hinges on whether or not she was trying to actively murder a cop, an ICE agent, with her car, okay? And there is not enough evidence to justify that. So I don't know why you're behaving like the fucking state prosecutor trying to get these bad cops off on murder when you're not. When you're not a cop, you're not an ICE agent, you're not a state prosecutor that's trying to make sure that the fucking ICE agents are a federal prosecutor that's trying to make sure that the ICE agents are off and don't get any fucking, don't receive any sort of impact in this situation. Right? They don't experience any legal repercussions. You're a citizen. You have no power in this situation. I don't understand why you automatically put yourself here. This is what it is. You put yourself in the shoes of the ICE agent. You never put yourself in the shoes of who you would likely be in this scenario, which is not a fucking ICE agent, but a person in her car. This is the problem. Do you understand? That's it. You automatically place yourself in the shoes of the ICE agent that did the murder. You fantasize about being the powerful person in this circumstance when in fact you are not an ICE agent, okay? You are a fucking citizen. And there's precisely, that is precisely the reason why there are laws around standard ways of apprehending people, okay? There are restrictions that are supposed to be placed on every law enforcement officer at every level so that this thing that happened does not happen. So it blows my mind when LARPers such as yourself immediately place themselves in the shoes of a bad cop. I believe the officer should be prosecuted the letter of the law after full investigation, but I also saw the woman drive into him. It's sad it happened, but I support people being able to defend themselves. Okay. If a random person walks up to your car with a gun drawn, do you have a right to defend yourself? Also, I haven't been rude or anything. Why are you being a dick? Because you're justifying murder. I don't think you will understand. Because the reason why you are grabbing onto the civility like a goddamn libtarded pussy in this situation is because you can't actually argue on the virtues, okay? And that's the reason why you have to go, why are you hurting my fucking feelings? Sorry, this is not what you think was going to happen in a fucking, college campus style hysterical SJW gets owned compilation. I apologize for this not going the way you thought it was going, okay? The reason why I'm being stern with you and maybe even a little rude with you is because you saw a situation where a cop straight up, an ICE agent straight up fucking shot someone in a totally unlawful scenario, and your first inclination was to try and put yourself in the shoes of the fucking cop and try to defend it. You're not just defending a cop, you're defending a bad cop in this situation, and bad cops kill, okay? And because of this environment of lack of accountability, even from the fucking public here, this means that there will be more instances where cops end up killing more people. And one day, they could even murder one of your family members, okay? Every single part of this could have been avoided if the cops didn't fucking come out like insane people. And instead, we're just like, hey, can you get out of the way, please? You are not allowed to block a fucking road in this way. And it's very obvious that if you watch the longer video, she's already waving the cops past and she's already trying to get out of the fucking way. It's so crazy that like for the last couple of days, everyone was like, well, Maduro is killing protesters, right? And then all of a sudden, when it's America, when it's literally happening in the United States of America, they're like, no, it's good. I guess it's good. I can't believe it. It's the same people. It's the same people that are like, no, I can't believe this. What the fuck? It's good when the president is white, of course. Yeah, I guess what it is. Yeah, I guess that's the whole point. I cannot believe it. And then I like that this is the smoking gun. Very cute electro dog. Thank you, chatter. Once again, demonstrating that you have no care or consideration for animals, nor do you have any care or consideration for human beings. Like, that's it. That's the whole point, right? That's the reason why all these people that come in here and go, oh, dude, you actually abuse your dog, don't actually have any care or consideration for animal abuse or humans, okay? Perfect example of this. Yeah, so the smoking gun has the fidelity of a Bigfoot sighting. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe it. Look at this smoking gun. I know you have it in broad daylight. I know you watched it in broad daylight in fucking 4K, but guess what? This alternative angle doesn't really even prove the point that you're trying to make. But because of the fucking low pixelated version of the video, I can at least try and defend it a little bit better, you know? Yeah. Now let's look at the eyewitness testimony now that we saw the video, okay? Because there are obviously eyewitnesses as well here.
I noticed that the ambulances were around, and then I saw behind the snowbank that they're doing CPR on a woman right behind here. I couldn't see the woman. I didn't see her get shot, but that's what my spouse said from the signal chat that we're on that they said happened. And they did CPR for a good minute. And then the ambulances came and they had stretchers and they brought her onto the stretcher. She was Scott patient. And they put her into the ambulance and they drove off without sirens. They didn't bring her to the emergency. They drove off quietly. If somebody is shot and they're doing CPR and they don't rush her to the emergency, what happens? Noticed that the ambulances were around, and then I saw behind the snowbank that they're doing CPR.
There's more. There's another witness. Yeah. Eyewitness account here from the scene says she was trying to turn around. An ICE agent was in front of her car and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, like his midriff was on her bumper, and he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face like 3 or 4 times, Heller said. Heller said it appeared that the woman then accelerated and traveled about 100 feet before striking a utility pole and some other vehicles. She could be seen slumped inside of her car. Kirsty Noem also immediately said this was an act of domestic terrorism, as though there isn't a fucking video footage of this. Okay? That's what's so crazy about it. These guys don't even care. They don't even dignify us with like a fucking deliberate lie. They don't even give us like a good lie anymore. I don't understand how people don't recognize that this is fascism, which is colonialism turned inward, okay? This is literally how we operated in Iraq without any accountability whatsoever, okay? We did this for years and years. We said, oh, we shot a hospital. Guess what? Maybe the hospital had Taliban in it. Turns out the hospital didn't have Taliban in it, but it's all right. It's just, you know, oh, my mistake. This kind of unaccountable violence is now taking place on U.S. soil. It was unacceptable in Afghanistan. It was unacceptable in Iraq. And now it's happening on U.S. soil. And it's crazy to me that there are American citizens who will defend this. And it's also crazy to me that Open Presence, thank you for the 100 gift of subs, is also crazy to me that there are people, I mean, there are people in the government that are lying in the exact same fucking way that they were lying in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information.
Yeah. You know we got fucking footage, right? Like, this isn't even a lie. That's in the ballpark of what was captured on video. Just a complete fabrication. They're scrambling to rush out before people can see what happened. Like, not even remotely close. Not even remotely close to what fucking took place. Unless you mean it was an act of domestic terror by ICE. I cannot believe it, dude. Yo, listen. We're now fucking popping white women, dude. We're now killing white women and the state is justifying it. Like, how can people not understand that the environment has changed so dramatically? This is exactly what Black Lives Matter protesters were protesting about, okay? This is the reason why BLM was at the funeral of white people that were being killed by cops too. Like, there was at least a point in time where, like, the racist people would be like, well, this white person got killed and white people are the only human beings that we recognize as human beings. And I was like, nope. White women can be killed by cops just the same. Turns out it don't matter. Turns out it was like, it wasn't even all lives matter. It was no lives matter, you know? HasanAbi, do you run from a cop with a gun regardless of the country? Do not do that. It's wrong for the agent to shoot. Yes. What is going on with your brains, chatters? What causes you to think? What causes you to instantly try to find a different scenario? Well, what if she had a nuclear weapon and that she was about to blow up the entire state of Minnesota? You know? Like, what if she had a gun and she had fired the gun and she was running away after firing the gun? It's like, okay, what if? Do you run from a cop with a gun regardless of the country? Do not do that. It's wrong for the agent to shoot, yes, but also wrong to block the road from agents. Someone just told me to off myself. Shut up. Shut up. Okay? Stop. Stop fucking crying. I need you to stop fucking crying. You come in here, you say some dumb, nonsensical bullshit defending an American citizen getting fucking murdered in broad daylight, and then you cry when people go, shut the fuck up. Yes, it's the internet. You know how many people tell me to kill myself every fucking day? God damn it. Stop fucking crying. Sack up. Man the fuck up, bitch. God damn. You come in here, you say some insane shit, and instantly play the victim. What are we doing? Holy fuck. You're in here trying to play the big dog, being like, well, you know, I'm justifying summary execution in broad daylight. Oh no, someone told me a mean word on the internet. Shut the fuck up. You can't do might is right politics in the chat in an instance where someone like yourself could just as easily been the victim in this situation and then get offended when people get mad about that and respond to it like that, okay? Holy fuck. I can't stand the fucking soy right. I cannot stand how fucking soy right-wing fascists are. It is unfucking bearable. One day they'll be talking about how, well, we have the biggest dicks, we have the biggest military, we can just murder whoever the fuck we want. The next day they'll be like, yeah, even if like it's an American citizen in our own fucking vehicle getting murdered in broad daylight, I'm still gonna defend that summary execution. Oh no, people are mad at me for saying that this is appropriate. Like, what is happening here? And then they fucking turn around and go, the left is so violent. Why? Because they said shut the fuck up and used a spicier language. Is that what it is? Cry bullies all around. Jesus Christ. Unfucking bearable. I know I was defending the summary execution of an American citizen in broad daylight in her own goddamn car by an unaccountable group of law enforcement officers that are simply following the desires of this unaccountable administration, really ramping up the tensions here, okay? But you were rude. You were rude to me. And that's basically cops, come and kill this person, please. They were being rude to me. Me, I'm the most important person here. My feelings were hurt while you were trying to have a conversation about the possible dangers of escalating violence in the hands of an unaccountable body of law enforcement. But me, what about my feelings? Why can't I simply defend summary executions of broad daylight in the hands of ICE agents without people saying that I suck dick? Me! That's what you fucking sound like.
Questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them.
I like that people then go crash out. I'm the one crashing out. You're right. Oh, never mind. You were talking about the fucking right-wingers. Because people would then be like, oh, Hasan is fucking crashing out. It's like, I'm not the one crying, okay?
Them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to...
It's fucking insane. Yeah, that was yesterday. We didn't even get to that. There's a fucking ICE agent that they caught roaming the streets that had the fucking double lightning bolt Nazi tattoo. I can't believe it. Also, by the way, before people fucking chirp, before the electro dog dumbasses who got duped online fucking chirp, This woman murdered her dog murdered her puppy also in broad daylight, okay? The person that you're defending. And her goat. And then dumped them in a fucking pile. None of you give a shit, obviously, but you know. Is so crazy. It's like any circumstance can be justified. If you can justify this, you can justify anything. You know what I mean? And I guess these guys literally. Yeah. They do want that. They want that. They want to justify anything and everything. Freeze frames of this specific moment where the ICE agent draws and fires his pistol 3 times. Look at the wheels, dude. Like, the wheels have already turned. She backed out. She's trying to get out of the fucking way. And the guy instantly starts fucking blasting. Nick Merckx and Cloak still bring it up while playing fucking Arc Raiders. I mean, who gives a shit, brother? Yes, they're fucking dumb hogs. It's the rallying cry of hogs who defend pedophiles and shit until it becomes unpopular for them to do so. And obviously they can't get me on anything, so they have to make up some shit that they use as a rallying cry to be like, hey guys, he's a bad guy. Clearly because the socialism with the house didn't fucking work. Who cares? Yeah, they're squealing hogs. Let them fucking squeal, okay? Let them fucking squeal. Lock in. We're talking about something serious here, all right? Anyway, in the moments before he draws his weapon, the agent does not look at the relative positions of his fellow agents to assess whether they are in danger. He locks his eyes on the driver. By the time the agent draws his weapon, only that agent, the one who fired, is in a position where they could possibly be struck by the vehicle. Christy Gnomes claims that multiple officers are simply lies. By the time the agent fires his gun for the first time, the driver has turned the wheels of the car in a way clearly intended to avoid striking him. In the moment that they were killed, they could not possibly pose the fatal threat to the agent that they were attempting to avoid. This image captures the moment the agent fired his weapon for the second time. I don't know what else to say here. He's at a 90-degree angle to the fucking driver. His life is not at risk, and anyone claiming otherwise is lying. His goal in the moment is to shoot and kill the driver. The moment when the agent fires his weapon for the third time, the vehicle is past him and obviously not a threat to any agent on the scene. 2 other significant points after the agent fires his final shot. 1, the vehicle accelerates, presumably as the driver slumps on the gas, striking 2 other vehicles and a telephone pole. This is the moment of the greatest danger to the public, a danger caused by an ICE agent. And as I covered already, ICE agents are bound by the DHS's use of force guidelines, not that they will actually fucking take this into sincere consideration, okay? Because obviously the whole point here is to always justify, always justify, always justify, you know? No matter what happens. The greater threat here is not the random lady in her fucking vehicle, okay? The greater threat here is the unaccountable ICE agents that are shooting people in the fucking face. What are we doing? Now focus on the agent. After he draws his weapon and fires, he holsters his weapon and then walks towards the crash. He never looks at his fellow agents. DHS is saying these agents were all at risk of their lives, but he never even looks at them to assess their condition because they all knew that they weren't in fucking danger. Okay? Yeah, and Tim Miller is right. They are going to try to tell you that a masked officer shooting into the side window of a 37-year-old lady's Honda Pilot was doing so out of fear for his life. At this point, because of the information environment and how it's just partisan, it's pure partisan, okay? If Donald Trump comes out and says, or if Donald Trump's own servants come out and say, this was good because it was a severe act of terror, Republicans will sincerely look at this shit and go, yes, this was a 37-year-old woman in a Honda Pilot that was sincerely trying to murder every ICE agent and do an act of terrorism. She might have actually been ISIS. Okay? It does not matter anymore. The truth does not matter. None of this fucking matters. Asmongold clip on this is being mass downvoted on Reddit. Feels like legit bot manipulation. Yes, Asmongold will get away with talking about how awesome this was in his own hug box, and they will do everything in their fucking power to ensure that this does not breach containment. This does not reach out of his hug box whatsoever. Okay? But I suspect that this will be one of those moments where he probably bet on the wrong fucking horse because he doesn't understand the actual impact that this incident will have in American consciousness. A lot of people immediately fire from the hip and justify whatever they assume the administration is going to say. And 20% of the population, it is clear to me, will also always defend these kinds of unlawful actions. Okay? They will always defend it no matter what. They'll say, oh, you just want cops to be killed. Oh, you just want people to do terrorism and vehicular manslaughter, things of that nature. They will look at this clip in broad fucking daylight, look at this goddamn execution of an American citizen, a 37-year-old woman in a fucking Honda Pilot, and go, yes, it was totally justifiable to kill that person, because they have no capacity for empathy. They cannot understand that they are closer to being in a situation where they get killed by a cop than actually being the cop that pulls the trigger. Check my deleted link. Some right-leaning guy witnessed it and it changed him. What is this? The citizens of Minneapolis sound united. Is this from today?
I was just getting up and I heard a bunch of commotion and whistling outside. And then I heard bang, 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 3 shots. I went to go look out the window and it looked like there's a Honda over there that crashed. And I
constantly stopping for bad faith chatters undermines what you were attempting to do here. Ignoring people that condone murder. Wait, what? I'm not going to ignore people that condone murder. What the fuck are you talking about? As a matter of fact, the reason why I'm pulling up bad faith chatters and quickly trying to counter their points is because I do not believe in letting this kind of stuff go. You'll see. Once Asmongold realizes that there are longtime Asmongold chatters who actually see this as a broad daylight execution of a fucking white lady and how unacceptable this is in the hands of a cop, and his audience start fucking turning on him and he can't actually deal with it, he'll change his perspective. Okay? This is an unjustifiable, unlawful act of straightforward murder.
found out it was an observer that got shot and killed. And I saw them carry it. I got a bunch of video of them carrying the body to the ambulance and stuff. So it was an observer that got shot at an ICE raid at the house next door.
I'm sure that was a scary thing to witness.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty right-leaning, but seeing this is not what you need to do. This is not how to do it. It's not how we're supposed to.
This is also part of the reason why I said eventually that no matter what people's positions were initially when they voted for Donald Trump or whatever, they will slowly but surely realize when this happens in their neighborhood that it is unacceptable and it's fucked up, because it ultimately humanizes the situation for them. It makes it real for them. It's no longer something that they are perceiving on the television. This is precisely why I said eventually, once ICE comes to their neighborhood, they won't like it. And this is yet another glaringly obvious example of that, because a lot of people do not have the capacity to empathize with others, okay? They just see like scary immigrants, scary Muslims, scary black immigrants, scary Muslim immigrants, scary Latino immigrants. They must be immediately deported because they're doing rapes, they're doing murders, they're doing drug dealings, and it's really fucked up. They have to go. But then when ICE comes to their neighborhood, they realize, wait a minute, these guys are just fucking packing up my neighbors. My neighbor didn't do anything. My neighbor's landscaper didn't do shit. Okay? Why the fuck's he being apprehended? Why the fuck's he being sent back? He's a good guy. I didn't even know he was undocumented. Why the fuck is he actually being kidnapped in the middle of the fucking day. I don't like that at all. And then on top of that, when they see this like unaccountable, unlimited super violence that these fucking dickheads are engaging with, that these dickheads are doing, causing chaos in their fucking neighborhoods, that's when they go, okay, never mind. This was actually a bad idea. That's it.
To do things around here in America. So.
What was how many like agents and other people were here when that happened?
When it first started, there was maybe 20, but now there's hundreds, and then they got everybody out. So it's kind of crazy right now.
What's it been like seeing all of this?
And remember, Nick Shirley absolutely played a role in this. Okay, I know it seems stupid to bring that up, but unfortunately, we live in profoundly stupid times. And yes, abso-fucking-lutely, Nick Shirley's video played a role in this, because although there was an active investigation that had taken place under Merrick Garland and Joe Biden's Department of Justice, an investigation that took many, many years to conclude with convictions that came after the fact, Nick Shirley decided to use that pre-existing investigation to go and universalize the hatred towards all Somalis, as though every single Somali in Minneapolis was engaging in mass fraud. It went viral. Elon Musk boosted it. All these dumb fuck right-wingers leaned into it, even though it was the dumbest video I've ever seen. So many people got fucking filtered by this video, including centrists and liberals, who made it seem as though this video was actually good. It was actually brilliant journalism, only to sheepishly move away from it after other adults with fucking working brain cells looked into the video. Not adults with working brain cells that have been vilified by the slop tubers, obviously, but like, you know, CBS, ABC, CNN, and numerous other adults that went in and were like, this is a ridiculous video. Here is why. Okay. And then eventually the attitude shifted a little bit on the internet as well when people actually offered pushback. This is the reason why I always say you have to be brave. You have to, when you see something that doesn't sit right with you, you have to call it out. Because if you stay quiet, if you stay silent, if you're worried about the right-wing dickheads that are going to come after you and yell at you and say you're a fucking bad person for this, then you can't give others the courage to do the same thing. Okay? This is also why I actively push back on stuff like this, even though I'll be the fucking person who tanks all the aggro initially. And you should too, okay? Because, again, we have power in numbers. But in any case, Nick Shirley's bullshit-ass video then caused the administration to move the Department of Homeland Security into Minneapolis. But remember, 90% of Somalis are American citizens. 60% of Somalis are natural-born U.S. citizens. Okay? No different than Irish-American, no different than Italian-American. They just happen to be black and Muslim from the continent of Africa. And that's the only major difference here. So why the fuck would you actually send ICE to pack up American citizens? ICE has no power in apprehending American citizens. It is illegal for ICE to conduct operations on American citizens, and yet they sent them anyway. And of course, when they went to Minneapolis, this was inevitable. It was inevitable that they would end up shooting someone and killing them. And now they have, and people are still trying to defend it. Luckily, there are some who are recognizing that this is completely inappropriate. This is completely unjustifiable, like this person.
So kind of scary. I lived during the riots in 2020, so it's kind of paralleling that right now. It's kind of same feeling. Hoping it doesn't, but it's getting low.
There was the lady's wife. What is this? Is that her? This is just ICE and Border Patrol agents have shot a woman who was a legal observer in the face and killed her in a Minneapolis neighborhood. Details are still emerging and the exact circumstances have not yet been officially confirmed. According to a woman from the scene, a man heard gunshots and ran outside. The wife of the victim, who was in the car, is sitting on the ground nearby with a dog, visibly distressed. In the video, she's heard saying that they had stopped the film. She yelled something, and moments later, agents fired, fatally shooting the woman. What happens next is even more alarming. A man identifying himself as a physician attempts to approach the scene, providing medical assistance. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to show this video. Plus, I don't know veracity of the claims being made here. This seems like a random person. So I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I'm not going to lean into unconfirmed statements because again, this is an ongoing incident. So there might be some details that might be wrong on this. Okay, that doesn't mean that this person is wrong in any of the details that they're presenting, but I would rather wait for official confirmation on this stuff. But yes, I have heard from other people, including Prem Tucker, that she was a legal observer. Our politicians tell us to show up and record ICE agents. They specifically tell us to do this. What are we supposed to do? What the fuck are we supposed to do? No, exactly. A man identifying himself as a physician attempts to approach the scene, provide medical assistance. He repeatedly tells agents that someone medically trained needs to intervene, that the victim is bleeding, and that the doctor is required to assess or pronounce death. Instead of allowing aid, agents point the guns at him, threaten him, and force him to back away, leaving the woman shot inside her car without assistance. Eventually, medics arrive and remove the woman from the vehicle. Multiple eyewitnesses reported a physician attempted to give aid to her after the incident before 911 gets there, and ICE pointed their guns at them. Jesus Christ. This activated a schism in my friend group, and we all blocked the one MAGA guy in the group. I think this will unironically have more impact on the Maduro kidnapping. Sad shit, man. Oh, no, for sure. And you have to understand, the reason why this will have more impact for a lot of Americans is because this is something that at least like even the dumbest Americans can identify with. This is a white woman who's 37 years old in her fucking Honda Pilot that is trying to get out of the way of ICE agents who literally just walk up and just shoot her, okay? They first try to pull her out of her car, and then they walk up and shoot her. They dome her in broad daylight. Of course, it's going to be easier to identify that person as like someone that you know what I mean? Like your neighbor or your mom or your sister. It's much easier for Americans to look at that situation and go, yeah, this is actually a bridge too fucking far. Yeah. It's a random ass suburb where this happened. So it's obvious that it can happen to you as well, which is why it's even more alarming to me that there are still Americans in this chat and in other communities that are desperately trying to see themselves in the shoes of the fucking ICE agent rather than the shoes of the random citizen that just got fucking killed by an unaccountable ICE agent. It blows my fucking mind. Omar Fateh received reports of a shooting by an ICE agent in my district. I'm on site gathering verified information. I'm deeply concerned by the reports that a doctor was denied the ability to provide life-saving CPR by federal law enforcement. Please stay safe and take care of one another. Update: the victim has passed away. And of course, now that the protests are already heating up, here's where we're at. Yeah. Great stuff. That's a less than lethal directly shooting him in the face. Okay? He could have lost his eye right there, right then and there. That's a canister that you can literally see 40 millimeters deployed directly at this range, directly at his head. That is an intent to murder. You understand that, right? What happened right here is straight up something that has killed people in the past. What you are watching here is assault with a deadly weapon with an intent to murder. This is completely unacceptable. They need to pull back from this and allow people to fucking protest. They need to instantly pull the fucking police back. The fact that they are doing this shit instead is only going to escalate the situation further.
Whoa! Kill someone else! Go for it! Kill someone else!
They're going to double down? What do you mean? No, some people will double down. Some people will double down others will recognize that this is their moment to fucking pull out of the situation. Okay? Every single incident like this, pulls away from the support that the administration already, the diminishing support that this administration has. Okay. Oh my God! If one more person sends me the other angle, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I already saw it, dude. I already saw it. The other angle doesn't actually justify the shooting at all. Okay, it doesn't. And because they have nothing, that they can do to defend this this instance of like straightforward murder, they're going to move on to other stuff. They're going to very quickly sweep away and talk about the protests and talk about how scary it was when the George Floyd riots took place. Okay? They will move on from, first they'll try to justify the straightforward murder. When they realize they can't, they'll quickly move on and they'll start talking about Black Lives Matter and say how that's actually the real danger here and all this stuff. Fox News is already moving on. Mayor Jacob Fry came out and said, get the fuck out of the city, ICE. And Fox News' commentary on the situation is that this was a profanity-laced statement. It's unacceptable.
But I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. But
Fox News angle on the stories that condemn the mayor for his use of profanities. They're talking straight up like IDF with the West Bank settlers. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers in one of these violent rioters. This is literally Israel, okay? United States of Israel, dude. Holy fuck. Imperial boomerang, straight up. We have seen this for the past 2 years with the IDF being like, well, they were hiding terrorists. Nah, then he said a bunch of lib shit about hugs and hope after fuck ICE. I don't care. Jacob Fry sucks, but you have to lean into whoever actually has power and hold them to account. Make sure that they actually follow through.
city, they are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an
AP muscle memory kicked in to justify this Israeli occupational force style murder. Breaking: an ICE agent fatally shot a woman accused of trying to run over officers with a car during an immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. Associated Press now giving U.S. News the Israel treatment. Who accused her of trying to run over officers? As journalists, it's your job to find out if it's true, not to help ICE justify this killing. To be fair, this was before Israel as well. I mean, this is how it's always been. It's called passive voice, and I've talked about it for years and years. As a matter of fact, I used to use the pro-police language that they fucking use to justify Israel's military action. And the way that the media does this. In this slowed down version, you can absolutely see the first shot comes after all officers are clear and on the nose of the vehicles past every agent. Dude, it doesn't. Yes, we know. Explain passive voice to me. Sure. When someone who is not a law enforcement officer shoots and kills someone and it's murder, the media will say this is an alleged murder, right? Like they will use direct language. For example, Israelis are murdered Palestinians die. Okay? When someone shoots a cop, they say it. Okay? They just straight up say like bystander shoots a law enforcement officer. When a cop shoots a bystander, they will use passive voice. Active voice means police officers shoot and kill bystander. That would be active voice. You never actually hear that when you're talking about law enforcement action. When there is a lethal action that takes place where a cop or someone, a member of law enforcement, shoots and kills someone, okay? They always use passive voice. They say bullet struck or law enforcement related shooting. Bystander dies during law enforcement shooting. Things like that. That's passive voice. It's a way to take the responsibility away from the hands of the person who actually fired the bullet. Yeah, Elon Musk is on the case as well. Yeah, R.I.P. Bozo, says Asmongold. They told her to get out of the car, and then she put it in reverse and tried to run over an officer and drive away. Comply with police and don't try to run him over. This angle shows it better. And the angle does not actually show it better. Elon Musk responds and says, yes, if an officer of the law says stop, you stop. Attempting to murder them with a car obviously requires self-defense. Will this kind of very obviously goosed up, base boosted right-wing sentiment win over people, or will it stay on these websites as people actually see the truth? That's the question here. How much can Elon Musk, who played a big role in this murder that took place by boosting the narratives of Nick Shirley, okay, who many people did not even know who the fuck he was, and now he's getting 500,000 likes per tweet on Twitter, okay? His video on Twitter got 150 or 250 million views. His video on YouTube got like 2 to 3 million views, right? So if you want to understand like the impact that Elon Musk can have on his own website and how that impact can actually spread to other websites, this is yet another example of this, okay? This Fox News angle doesn't make any sense.
That this mayor is out there saying things, that ICE is not there for our safety, and when no one wants anyone to lose their life. Period.
I don't think you guys give a shit. I'll be honest. This is propaganda through and through.
But again, what about all of the individuals who were killed by illegals? And the Trump administration is now coming in and saying we are not going to allow that type of violence in our country.
Yeah, woman dead after ICE-involved shooting in Minnesota.
What do you say to Lake and Riley? What do you say to those who were killed by illegals? And the Trump...
Like, what's so crazy about this is, once again, what do you say to Lake and Riley is such an insane instance of whataboutism, because this circumstance has nothing to do with Lake and Riley, no matter how hard you try to justify it, okay? You are talking about a totally separate incident. With the horrific murder of Lake and Riley, law enforcement actually took action. The person who did it was apprehended, okay? They went to court. What are we talking about? Justice was served in that circumstance. This is not a justification for deploying ICE wherever the fuck you want to, and then have them start randomly doming people in the fucking streets. What the fuck?
The administration is now coming in and saying we are not going to allow that type of violence in our country. What do you think?
Like a random undocumented immigrant did one murder elsewhere, that means ICE can go and kill American citizens everywhere? What the fuck is this argument? This is true. And I need people to understand this. ICE is not about immigration. It's not about law enforcement. It's not about national security. It's not even about ethnic cleansing. It's a catch-all vehicle for state violence, a secret police designed to go around the country and terrorize Americans into a state of compliance. That is precisely what it is. Okay? Ethnic cleansing is just the justification that they use to sell it to the dumbest fucking hogs. Okay? But that's it. It's Trump's own personal Gestapo force. That's it. And Americans are supposed to hate that shit. I'm shocked. And many Americans do, but I'm shocked that there's still like a decent chunk of people who legitimately think this is good. Oh. There's too many racist people. Yeah, but I think for a lot of racist, brainwashed people, they don't even realize that they can be in the crosshairs next, okay? They have no capacity to understand that their justifications for actions such as this one will inevitably lead to ICE doing it to them or their loved ones inevitably. They just can't see it though, okay? They don't understand it. They don't understand it at all. They're just literally, they are constantly tuning in to every single incident and finding ways to try and justify it. That's all they're doing, right? Not realizing that an administration that does this to other people will inevitably do this to them. I understand why Elon Musk, obviously from his position of power, gets away with saying, you know, of course ICE is going to kill whoever the fuck they want to kill, right? Because that's Elon Musk. Elon Musk is never going to be in this situation. Even Asmongold most likely will never be in this situation because he never leaves his house, right? But Asmongold's audience could just as well have been in this situation. Easily. They could have been in the situation where they're like pro-ICE, for example, but they got scared and they wanted to move out of the way, right? Or they're pulling out of their fucking driveway, for example, and they got domed and shot and killed. That's how this works, okay? You are ascribing evil intent for no real reason in this circumstance when the true evil that's taking place is literally the evil that's coming from ICE. If even in this situation, you instantly find yourself trying to justify the murderers, there's something fucking wrong with you. You have like the part of your brain that causes you to think about your own personal well-being is warped because you're so predisposed with defending law enforcement every step of the fucking way. You've been so propagandized and so conditioned into thinking that cops are always doing the right thing that you just cannot understand that you could be in the crosshairs next. You just can't comprehend it. Your loved ones can be in the crosshairs next. Yeah, this was the inevitable consequence of a Gestapo formed of racist sociopaths who were given license to go and attack communities. It was only a matter of time that the government terrorist thugs who went around aiming guns at people, photographing them, were going to act on it. It was only a matter of time. Not if you don't try to run over an ICE agent. Yeah, hey, notice how you're actually, once again, making up a thing that we can see did not happen. And you're desperately trying to say that it was a justifiable kill in this circumstance, even though we can all see that that wasn't the instance at all, that wasn't what happened. That's precisely my point. When you're, let's say in a totally separate circumstance, ICE agents are fucking rolling down your street and your mother who wants to go out and get groceries doesn't realize that there's a bunch of unmarked cars that are passing through and she tries to pull out of her fucking driveway and she gets domed in a similar capacity. You think it can't happen to her, but it absolutely can. Okay? Or a stray bullet hits your niece or your nephew when she or he is playing in her fucking room. Why can this dude death threat to me? Eat shit and die. Why? Because you're a fucking moron. Once again, why are people being so mean to me? Why are people being so mean to me? Insta-lock the cry-bully shit, okay? It's always the same. You come in, you justify straight up murder, And then when someone gets mad at you and says, fuck you, kill yourself or whatever, you start crying. It's always me, my feelings, my feelings. What about my feelings? What about my personal feelings? People forgot that if you were to do this in broad daylight, you'd probably get fucking smacked in the face. But because you're not doing this in broad daylight, you're doing this sheltered by anonymity on an online forum that is open to 40,000 people. This is fucking Madison Square Garden, okay? That, like, people are eventually going to say something that you don't like if you come in and try to justify something so heinous. It's so ridiculous. The real problem here is people are hurting my feelings on the internet when I tried to anonymously defend an execution in broad daylight in the hands of an unaccountable ICE agent. It's ridiculous.
It is loud, Dana, but this is very controlled. We've seen a lot of flare-ups between the public and law enforcement in Chicago, for example. This is a very controlled scene, although it is noisy. Again, we're continuing to try to find out more.
Just look at the framing of this. Yeah, look at this. Look. Minneapolis residents are in their streets attacking federal agents. Get the fuck out of Minneapolis, man. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. What are people supposed to do? What are people supposed to do? Arrest the murderer and also cease your operations because they are not justifiable to begin with. It's so crazy. It's like, oh no, we get to fucking violate everyone's humanity with regular fucking frequency and no one can be upset about it. You can't be upset. You can't protest. None of that. It comes from this place. It comes from this place of thinking like, no, if someone is wearing a fucking badge, they get to kill you. If someone is wearing a badge, they get to do whatever they want. They get to come into your house. They get to do whatever they want. There's no like legal process here. There's no like judges or courts that have to give you the proper clearance ahead of time. No investigations whatsoever. If someone's wearing a fucking badge, they get to do whatever the fuck they want. YouTuber Hosber, at least the death of a citizen should be the full story headline. That's exactly what it is. And then people come in here in this circumstance and fucking cry about like the way that people are perceiving their idiotic justifications. Like, dude, think, man, think.
What happened, but Dana, that's the latest here.
Whitney, you probably can't hear yourself think because it's so loud there. It's a little hard for us to hear what you're saying because obviously there are a lot of people there who are quite angry. If you can hear me, and perhaps it's too early to know the answer to this, but it sounds like officials are being quite careful when they just say a shooting involving a federal agent. Does that mean that somebody who they were going after, who ICE was going after, was shot? Was there a shootout, or we don't know?
We don't know. We don't know yet. I don't know if you can hear me, but it's starting to get really spicy. So let me give you context of what is going on here. Dana, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I'm going to pull my microphone a little closer to my mouth. Okay. That's Police Chief Brian O'Hara right now. The crowd is really directing their frustration that direction at the moment. People here are really angry. We're hearing them yell at the Minneapolis Police Department. They don't feel like the Minneapolis Police Department is serving the Minneapolis voters, the Minneapolis taxpayers right now. And so right now what you're hearing is a lot of anger directed toward the local law enforcement here, even though they were not involved in this shooting, as far as we know, Dana.
All right, Whitney, we're gonna let you go. Obviously, it is interesting that you're saying that their anger is towards local law enforcement. I would imagine in addition to federal law enforcement, ICE agents in particular. So we're going to let you go. We're going to let you do some reporting. Stay safe, and we will get back to you as soon as you get more. Thanks so much for your terrific reporting, Whitney. DHS has confirmed that an individual has died. The alleged perpetrator.
I just checked in the Asmol chat. Chat's actually terrifying. How much of his chat thinks this is justified in RIP Bozo? I don't know if he'll pivot or his piglets will. Some of them will. some of them obviously recognize that they're closer to the victim in this situation than the fucking ICE agents that they fantasize as being. Okay? I cannot believe it, dude. This is so irresponsible. Wait until we've seen and know more. How dare you? As a sitting governor, further inflame an already charged situation by declaring the officer's defense propaganda shameful. No, Megyn Kelly, you're shameful. But to be fair, you don't have the capacity to feel shame. Just like when you defended pedophilia only a couple weeks ago, when it was clear that Donald Trump was defending his buddies and himself being all over the fucking Epstein files. And you came out and you literally said, oh, who amongst us? I mean, I have friends that want to fuck 14-year-olds. Like, it's fine. It's normal. She did say that. She did do that. So I expect this from the likes of Megyn Kelly, you know? You can't really shame people that have no capacity to feel shame. It's actually extra shameless because she has a daughter that is the age of the hypothetical victims here. Obey or die. Yeah.
Was hit and
the so-called free thinkers.
Is deceased. ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries. Can you fill in the blanks, Priscilla?
Yeah, Dana, let's set the scene here. So in Minneapolis right now, the Department of Homeland Security has surged thousands of agents. There are around 2,000 agents.
Yeah, optics-wise, though, shooting not even a young, but a 37-year-old Honda Pilot driving white woman from the Midwest is just not going to fucking work. It's just not going to work.
That have been Department of Homeland Security has surged thousands of agents. There are around 2,000 agents that have been deployed to the state of Minnesota, and there have been ongoing operations, especially in Minneapolis. So that is what has been ongoing in that city and in that area. And this morning, the Department of Homeland Security says that they were conducting what they call these targeted operations. That is to say that they went out to a location, they had a target in mind. Over the course of that operation.
That's bullshit, by the way. Remember, that's also fucking bullshit, because the only reason why they deployed ICE there to Minneapolis, the only reason why they deployed ICE there to Minneapolis was just because of the fucking slopaganda. That's it. Because it was a great distraction from the Epstein stuff. 100%. I won't say that the Venezuela thing is a distraction from Epstein. I think there's a broader reason for that, right? That's foreign policy in and of itself. That's American foreign policy that's like been designed a long time ago. But the reason why they deployed ICE to Minneapolis was because that was a fantastic way to move the conversation away from Donald Trump and his fucking pedophilic elite buddies being all up and down the Epstein files. They saw an opportunity and they seized on it. They hit the anti-Somali racism over and over again. The very fact that they were trying to say, like, this is a matter of immigrant apprehension is so ridiculous, because almost every single Somali living in Minneapolis is either an American citizen or has the proper paperwork. They're not undocumented immigrants, okay? It is very, very difficult. You make no sense. What are you saying? I make no sense. What? Chat, cats are better than dogs. Cats smell like apple and pumpkin. Okay. I'm gonna time you out, okay, for your own mental health here. Anyway, Trump has released a fucking statement. I have just viewed the clip in the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. Wait, what? Bro, we have officially reached don't believe your lying eyes. Okay? Oh my God, he's trying to use this clip as a way to fucking make people pay attention to something that we can clearly see in broad daylight did not fucking happen. It is hard to believe he's still alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Dude, I know that the information environment now does not actually does not actually have any sort of consensus reality or any sort of need for establishing consensus reality. But that video is so fucking obviously ridiculous, and he's so clearly lying about it that I doubt that people will, like, anyone that sees this after hearing Donald Trump's assessment on it is going to go, come on, dude, you're fucking out of your mind. Like, this is such a flagrant lie. You have to have brain damage. What do you mean? I'm shocked that the cop is not he's like, he barely made it out alive out of the situation. He literally fucking is standing upright. He walks over with his fucking camera out. Another filter, another turning point here, okay? Another filter moment, another turning point moment. If you look at the situation and try to fucking find, if you look at the situation and look at this as like as a moment where this cop was actually hospitalized, okay? That cop, the one that shot and killed the woman, is actually hospitalized. It's over for you. You're not going to make it. You're not going to fucking make it at all. Yeah, we already saw it. We already watched it. He's walking around, dude.
What the fuck did you do? You are.
This is crazy. He walked over to the gal and then walked back, got in a car, and left the scene. Oh my God. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. When people are now in the chat saying like, oh, well, I feared that they actually accomplished their goal. I'm now scared to protest, things like that. I need you to understand something, okay? You have power in numbers, okay? You have power in numbers. They can't get away with this shit unless you obey in advance, unless you actually succumb to the fears and you just say, all right, well, what can I do? I'm actually terrified that they're going to fucking kill me next. They might later down the line if you let this go unnoticed, if you don't actually fucking protest against this shit. Okay? That's it. If you obey in advance, then this administration will feel more emboldened. This administration will feel galvanized. They will feel like they can get away with doing this shit. You have to take a stand. Just as I was describing in a much smaller circumstance, like when people like Nick Shitley come out and it feels overwhelming, like everyone is defending it, everyone around you, people that you love. What, bro? Never say that shit. You want Americans to die? These are savage Nazis. Do not protest. The fuck are you talking about? Not only do I, of course, urge others to protest against this thing, I will also protest as well. What the fuck are you talking about? Do not protest? These guys are Nazis? What are you saying? If you don't protest now, it will actually become more violent later down the line. Protesting is the legal means of putting an end to this kind of madness, okay? What the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? If you don't resist peacefully, those who make peaceful resistance unacceptable make violent resistance inevitable, okay? Because at some point, you're going to have to defend yourself, okay?